How's it going? Aaron here. I am saying goodbye to this car today. I've had it for over 2 years. I've put 40,000 kilometers on it. It is a 2013 W212 Facelift E200. So it's an E-Class Mercedes. The 200, it's not the 220, 134 brake horsepower, 4-cylinder, 2.1 litre diesel engine, 0 to 60 miles an hour in 10.5 seconds or thereabouts. It's got 5 beautiful, comfortable leather seats. It's got a very large boot. It's got the gorgeous upgraded alloy wheels. They're the diamond cut alloys. It's got 2 exhausts that are actual exhausts, something that you don't get in the modern Mercedes. And what else has it got? Well, it's got almost 200,000 kilometers. It's about 125,000 miles. And let's check it out. So I love this car. Why am I selling it? I'm selling it because I'm working from home now. So which means I'm barely using it for what it deserves to be used for. This car is for doing big mileage. Let's take a look inside. What do we got? Well, we've got our dual zone climate control. We've got our really small screen by modern standards, but it works great. We've got vents all around, a really classy clock. We've got our automatic headlights. We've got automatic windscreen wipers. We've got our cruise control. We've got flappy paddles if we want to change the gears. Honestly, I never use them. We've got a little screen in there that gives information on the car if you want to find it. You've got big bins on the side. You can probably put like a small bottle in there. What have I got? I got rocks from the beach. Oh my god, that's a long time ago I was on the beach. It's got a strange handbrake. It doesn't have a handbrake or parking brake down here. You use the gear changer selector here. That's how you change the gears. And then if you want to put the handbrake on, there's a little pedal down here that you kick in to put the handbrake on. And then if you want to release the handbrake, you pull this right here. Heated seats. Only in the front. Electric windows, front and rear, easy to control, all one touch. Electric mirrors that you can easily control up here. The rear mirror automatically dims when it detects lights shining on it from behind, which is really cool. So if you've got someone driving behind you with their high beams on, it's really, really handy. We've got the overhead reading lights here. We've got a little slot under the seat to store your sunglasses in, which is great. And then we've got electronic adjustments on the side of the seats that you can use to bring the seats up and down. Really cool. Some of the fancier ones have a memory setting on the door, but this car doesn't have that particular feature. This car has the upgraded seat belts that tightens around your shoulder when you put the seatbelt on. It has Isofix in the rear. You can see it there on the rear seats. And we also have a little button here that we can use to pop open the boot. Let's take a look at the boot of the car and let's take a look under the bonnet. So I've had this car, as I mentioned, 40,000 kilometers. Let's show you the bonnet first. And in that time I've serviced it twice. And each service I've got done at the Mercedes dealership. And how much does that cost? Between $350 and $450 depending on if it's the A or B service. The battery is stored under there. And the battery is about €290 for a new one. It's a normal looking engine, it's got an engine cover on, it's hard to kind of see what's going on. Fluids going here. You've got your, I like the way that when you open the bonnet, it stays up by itself. It's even got this fancy little kind of soft kind of carpet on the bonnet. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe it's about like stopping the car getting too hot. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a great looking engine, looks nice and solid, and it runs very, very well. Let's take a look in the boot. So you've got the key, you've got 3 buttons on the key. You've got the unlock, you've got the lock, and you've got to open the boot. So you hold the unlock boot button, boot pops open. Here we go. There's some random stuff in the boot. This is an older W212, so it's the first edition of the facelift. So under here, rather than having like an AdBlue system or just a pump for a tire, you actually have a spare tire, and then you have the auxiliary battery back there. Apparently it's very expensive to replace that if you need to. And that's probably a trend that you're going to find with a Mercedes in general. It's very expensive to replace anything if you need to. How does it drive? It drives absolutely fantastically. Let me just start it up and you can let you hear its sound. Okay. So, sounds diesel engine, but when you're on the motorway, it's nice and quiet. Like there's great soundproofing in the cabin. I'll turn the radio off. Great soundproofing in the cabin. So you're not going to be you're not going to struggle to hear your passengers, but even when you're going, like if you're cruising at 120. The car, this E200, I know it's not the fastest E-Class, but it will very comfortably cruise at 140, even 160 if your speed limits permit that. The view from the cabin is excellent. I've got the seat down quite low. This is the height of my head, so I'm putting this in front of my eyes, and that's the view you have. It's a fantastic view from the car, really clear, but you can raise the seat up as well, and then it's like driving an SUV if you want, you know, not like one of the more crossover SUVs. It's not that high of a car. In terms of the center console, you've got this really classy looking kind of vinyl section that you can close and open. It's got, you know, old-fashioned car again. It's got the smoke and stuff in it. Modern cars, you don't really get that unless you order it specifically. You've got this big bin in here, nice armrests, very, very comfortable. Overall, I got this car because I was traveling for work a lot. I was traveling to all around the country, all around Ireland, and it was perfect for that. And I'll show you some stats on the car now in a second. Just show you the noise of the engine. So again, it's nothing wild. It's a diesel, you know. People don't go mad for the exhaust notes, and this car isn't really one that you're going to get for the performance. It's more for the speed. It's more for like the refinement. That's what the car is about. All right, let's take a look at the fuel stats. So you can see 196,000 kilometers. I got it at 160,000, so coming up on 40,000 kilometers being done in the car. I'm going to move this in because the sun's in the eyes there. Okay, so you can see the tank is at, you know, what's that, 3/4, and it says I've got 560 kilometers range. What I found is I get about 800 kilometers from a tank. If I drive faster, I get 750. If I drive slower, I get 850. But with the style I drive, and I would say I'm not a particularly fast driver, I get 800 kilometers on a tank. It gives you your real-time fuel consumption, which is great, and you can see in the last 5,000 kilometers that I've done on the car, that was since August probably, I've got 6 litres per 100 kilometers. Reversing back. Okay, so you can see as I'm backing up into the garage door, the parking sensors are on, and you can see it's telling me that there's an obstacle coming up there. The lights are popping up on the side of the parking sensor. As I get closer, I'm not going to get much closer. You see three dots there. When it goes red, you're about to hit something. You're like 2 inches away. So the parking sensors work great. You don't need the reversing camera unless you're a particularly nervous driver. You can see on the front the lights are on there, so I'm just going to get close to this gate. Imagine I was going through like a car park or something. I'm going to get close to this gate and you're going to see that parking sensor. Right, yeah, you can see it's coming on there. See the 3 dots? So it's saying there's an obstacle on your right and you're pretty close to it. And as I get closer to it, the more dots will pop up. Okay, so I'm going to just drive out here and let's... Indicators, really nice feel on them, real nice, like they feel solid. The whole car feels very solid. And one of the reasons I'm doing this isn't just for you guys, it's for me too. You know, I love this car and I am getting rid of it because I'm not using it much anymore. It's just sitting on my driveway depreciating, and you know, that's not a good use for a car this nice. It deserves to be driven. So I put it up on Done Deal on 2 days ago, and I got a load of calls. And I showed it to 3 people yesterday, and they all wanted to buy it, which was great. I put it up at a price I actually wanted to sell it at. Maybe that's the trick. Rather than putting up at a price expecting to be battened down on the price, I just put it up at the price I wanted to sell it at and sold it for €200 less than that. So I'm happy with that. Okay, there's a person behind me. I'm going to let them pass, and then I'm going to show you the acceleration. Just while I'm here, I'll show you the visor. You can see visor is nice and cool. A little light pops on when you turn on the visor, so great for doing your makeup if that's the kind of thing you're into. Okay, so I'm in drive. There's 2 modes. You got sport and you got eco. I'm in eco mode at the moment. I always drive the car in eco, but I'm going to show you sport just so you can see the acceleration. So I press the S button, I turn off the eco. You can see now the S has appeared on the dash there. So I'm going to accelerate and I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so just coming into the middle of the road. The road is empty, so let's try it. Okay, I'm stopped. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Foot to the floor, let's go. Makes a big noise. Coming up on 60 kilometers an hour, 80, 100, and we are at 100 kilometers an hour. And the speed limit on this road is 80, so I'm going to slow down. And that's the performance of the car. You know, you will have no trouble passing almost anything unless you're on the autobahn doing like, you know, 220 kilometers an hour. You're not going to have any trouble with the speed of this car. If you are the kind of person who is like a bit of a racer, this car isn't for you, right? It's too heavy, it'll use a lot of fuel when you drive it quickly. It's, I don't know, it's just not the kind of car for that. And if you start customizing it without using like official Mercedes parts, you're complicating the electronics of the car. I really wouldn't recommend it. But if you're looking for a car that's like a reliable family car, that you can get around in very easily, I couldn't recommend it enough. In the 40,000 kilometers I've had this car, what have I done? Well, very little. The only things I've had to do is I had to re-gas the air conditioning. That was €60. I changed the tires. Of course, you'd have to change the tires fairly frequently, depending on how you drive. You know, I've only changed the tires once in the 40,000 kilometers. That was €800 for the tires, but I got Bridgestones. I could have changed them for 450 if I got some like unknown brand, but I got Bridgestones because I thought that would be the right thing to do for the car. And what else? I changed the brake pads. The brake pads, I think it was like 300 to change all the brake pads. So any parts are expensive, any service is expensive, it's not like servicing a Fiat. You know, like my wife drives a Fiat 500, lovely little car, and you know, we went to get that service, €170 to service the car, and you know, like it's like up to €500 for this, depending on what level of service you want. So again, you're buying this car because you're buying a nice car. You're not buying this, like if you try to convince yourself that a Mercedes E-Class from 2013 makes financial sense, well, that's because you value refinement and you value having a nice car that you look at and you're like, yes, I think this car is beautiful. And I've driven this car, as I mentioned, a lot, 40,000 kilometers. I took it on my honeymoon. I used it as my wedding car. When I got married, we didn't rent a car, we used this car, and everyone thought it was lovely, you know. And it was great. It was perfect for that. And driving around the country for the honeymoon, we did like 3,000 kilometers in a week, driving all over the country. And every day I got into it, and I said to myself, my God, I love this car. And my new wife, she was saying to me, Aaron, would you ever shut up about the car? I get it, you love the car, you love the car. And then the next day I'd get into the car and I'd say, isn't this car just lovely? And that was even after having it for a year and a half. So really, you know, I love this car. Okay, going back to my house now. So I will probably finish up this video. As I mentioned, I usually get about 6, and on this one we went fast and we were in S the whole way, and we got 7.7. So yeah, you can really see the difference in the fuel economy from how you drive it. So that's it. This has been my Mercedes E200. Tonight I'm selling it to a man in Dublin, well, it's been emotional, Mercedes. Thanks very much. Bye bye.